I'm now going to walk through linking the two files that we talked about earlier. So that's the location record and the ADM record from the North Carolina School Report Card data. So just as we've done in the past, I'm going to go ahead and connect to a file and navigate to the folder where my file lives. And I'm going to start by reading in my location data right here. This is going to be exactly the same as what we've seen in prior lessons. We see our data load here. We also notice that our tab that is in the folder automatically reads in. And this is a good reason why we go ahead and name our tabs, because this is going to show up here. It's going to make things a lot easier to keep track of. Now, this is the first time that we have used two data sets for the same visualization. And the easiest way to do that with the fewest errors is to go ahead and connect them right here. And so I'm going to go up here to where it says connections. I see the current file that I have. And then I'm going to click on add and basically go through the same procedure. And I'm going to add in my other file, which in this case is that ADM record from the same year. And when I go ahead and open this up, Tableau is going to automatically figure out what is the most reasonable way, based on the way that my data are named, to link the two. So you notice here I have my location and I have my ADM. These are color coded. I have my primary data file right here, which is location, and the secondary data file, which is ADM. Now, when I look at the data down here, I have a bit of a problem. If I look across the row, everything should more or less line up. Again, I see my color-coded pieces here, so I see my variables from the ADM file show up here, and my variables from the location file here. If this linked exactly the way that I wanted it to, I should see my agency codes line up, and that looks pretty good. But when I look at my years, I notice here that I have 2006 lining up with 2018, 2006 lining up with 2017. Something is not correct. And so we need to fix how the two are actually merged together. And that's where this Venn diagram comes in. So when I click on this and I bring up the menu, it's going to show these different types of join statements. So I have an inner, a left, a right, and a full outer. And in this particular case, I'm utilizing my location data, and I only care about records, schools, and years that also have ADM data attached to it. And that's why an inner join in this case is appropriate. The Venn diagrams actually are very useful in this case, because you can see here that if I have a record in location that doesn't show up in ADM, it's not included. It has to show up in both files in order to go into my new data set. Now, down here is where I have my linking variables. And we can link on a single variable, or we can link on multiple variables. And in this case, since I have both agency code and years, they're going to have unique attributes associated with them. I want to make sure that I link on both of those. When I only match on agency code, I'm going to have an issue where I match on agency code, but not necessarily on year. So I want to add a new clause up here to show that I want to join based on year as well. Very easy to do here. Again, it's going to start with my location data. I'm going to see all of my variables down here. And so I'm going to go ahead and scroll down to where I see it say year. You can also enter search text up here to make that go a little bit faster. And I want to link year in this data set to year in my ADM data set, which I'm going to click right here and have it link on year. Notice there Tableau just refreshed, and now when I look across, I see years, agency codes, both lining up between the two data sets. So I can go ahead and close this join window now, and in effect my data are linked according to the rules that I set here. And then I can go ahead and go to the worksheet. And when I click on that down here, I'm going to notice something a little bit different in my dimensions and measures list. Notice here that it's separated out the variables that are part of my ADM file and the variables in my location file. And we're going to be able to utilize this fact now to create a visual that borrows from the variables available in both data sets.